Hey guys, welcome back to the AJ Analysis channel and another live stream on a day where we've got a lot of streaming to do. First of all, we're here for an hour and a half talking about Manchester United versus Newcastle United this weekend, tactical preview. And then after that, we're heading over to Discord. I know a lot of you guys are there already. And streaming Football Manager 24. And then in the future, we'll stream that on YouTube as well. But first of all, before we get into any of that action, let me know how you guys are doing. Get in the chat and let me know how we're feeling. I'm straight away seeing some of our members in chat, which is great to see. Loving the custom emoji, guys. Corey, Alex, Matt, good to see you all. Hope you're well. How is everybody doing on this fine day? And how are we feeling going towards this game against Newcastle United? Pretty tough game tomorrow night. It's not an easy game away at Newcastle. I don't think it's an easy game for anyone in the league, really. Codename, good to see you, mate. Pavel, good to see you. Matt saying he's cold. It's not the warmest. It's not the warmest day I've ever experienced. I will be honest. Winter is here, 1st of December and all that. But yeah, how are we, guys? How are we doing? And mainly, how are we feeling about this? This is also the first time that we've done a live stream, I think, since the Galatasaray game. So, yeah, how are we feeling in reaction to that? I know I've spoken to a lot of you guys on Discord. Of course, I done a video on it yesterday. Also covered some of the defensive issues this morning. But let me know what your guys' thoughts are. It's good to get your guys' thoughts. I feel like you hear enough from me. I'd like to hear some more back from you. Corey saying we showed improvements on Wednesday. We went from a 3-2 loss to a 3-3 draw. What can I say? Baby steps in the right direction, eh? Hope we don't get defeated. That's my borderline. Can we put Reguilon in midfield and Menu? I think it's unlikely. Haven't really looked into it, I have to be honest though. Good, thanks, buddy. Not looking forward to the game. Wondering how the back four will cope. Yeah, so I'm actually going to miss the game because I'm out. So I'm not actually going to be able to see the game live, but I'm going to watch it back and still do the video. I'm very nervous about, you know, coming back to it and seeing quite a bad performance and result. I'm a little bit worried. Although, like Codename has said there, they do have a lot of injuries. They have about, I think it's now 11 first-team players out of the team. Like, when we come to their starting 11 in a second, you're going to see that they really don't have much. You know, they've got the starting 11. They haven't got much behind that. They're very limited at the moment with their squad. I think either way it's going to be a difficult team. What we will do, actually, that's the first thing we'll do. We'll just whack up the starting 11s on the screen here. Now, this isn't the United 11 I'm necessarily suggesting. This is the United starting 11 from the other night, I believe, unless I've got it wrong. I think that's right. But this is the Newcastle starting 11 I think we will see. And I don't know how many of you guys watched their game against PSG in midweek. But what we saw, massively against PSG from Newcastle was that they didn't make a single sub all night. And the reason for that was because they don't really have any. On the bench the other night, they had 2 goalkeepers. They had 3 19-year-olds who had never played professional football. And they also had Dummett and Lewis Hall. So they are very, very limited at the moment. It's been confirmed that someone like Sean Longstaff won't be available for this game. So yeah, Newcastle are really lacking numbers at the moment. However, if they can still go to PSG and get a result, let's not mess about here. They're still a very, very good side. They're very well drilled. They'll be very intense, very physical. The Newcastle crowd is going to be right up for it. Another game where United are going to be, you know, going into a real hostile, intense atmosphere. It's going to be a difficult game even with all these injuries. Will Van der Beek ever play in midfield? Truthfully, not for Manchester United, I don't think. I don't think we'll ever see it again, really. Apart from, unless United were to get desperate and he was needed in a cup. Apart from that, I think his future is at another club. Matt saying that serious lessons need to be learned from that game. Sounds like Eric is recognising that too, at least. Yeah, so I said that on Discord the other day. It was nice to see him take a bit of the blame for the result. Because I do think that, yeah, I think a lot of it this season has been individual errors. And we saw that again midweek. But also structurally, like I covered this morning, there's a big problem at the club. Is Varane going to start? Again, you know me, I would start Rafael Varane right centre-back, Maguire left centre-back. But Ten Hag has said that he will not start Maguire left centre-back against a high press. Newcastle will be a high press. So it will be Lindelof left centre-back. And then Maguire or Varane right centre-back. It will be Maguire. Would you start Wan-Bissaka ahead of Dalot at right back? I'll definitely come on to that. I'm unsure at the moment. I think I would be tempted by Wan-Bissaka though. My worry is whether our midfield can show the necessary discipline in terms of positional awareness. We really need to get an extra midfielder a little bit deeper. This idea the other day of the 2-3-8 pushing super high up the pitch just caused far too many problems. Ali with the donation. Thank you very much, Ali. Saying, good morning, everyone. Hope all are well. Worried about our defence. We scored 14 goals. In the group stage, yet bottom of the group. Too much work needs to be done if we need to progress. Yeah, I think the Champions League is looking very, very ropey at the moment. Hopefully in the Premier League, we actually have kept a few clean sheets recently, despite not playing well. So hopefully we can see another clean sheet in the Premier League. But thank you very much for the donation. If everyone could spam some love hearts in the chat. And again, as always, my members, if you could use your custom emojis to say thank you to Ali, that would be greatly appreciated. But I hope you're having a good day, mate. Hope you've been having a good week. Hope work hasn't been too tough, all of that good stuff. Does Onana start? Yes, but he's got to be close to not, right? With the kind of the high profile mistakes he's making. Their fullbacks and how we deal with them is key for me. Livramento in particular is an incredibly great player. A player I spoke about a lot before his significant injury the other year. He's a great young player. And as who was it? Alex said earlier, stopping Anthony Gordon is going to be a big part of this game because I think he's a phenomenal player. I was one of few people who, when he went to Newcastle for big money, I was like, yeah, I think he's a good player. I think he's going to do well at Newcastle, and now he's proving that. One of their best players at the moment. Could also play up front potentially, and I dare say there'll be rotations. He's going to be a big threat. Alex has gifted a membership, and Ali has received that gifted membership. So thank you very much, Alex, for donating the membership. That's super, super generous of you. And it's gone to Ali. Literally perfect. Ali has been trying to become a member recently, but YouTube hasn't been letting him do it. So that is literally perfect. Thank you very much, Alex. Do greatly appreciate that. Thank you very much for your generosity. If everyone could spam some love hearts once again. Yeah, get those love hearts in the chat, guys. Thank you very much. That is greatly, greatly appreciated. We have the most clean sheets in the Premier League, but conceded 14 goals in the Champions League. And a striker top scorer in the Champions League, but yet to score in the Premier League. How is that possible? Sorry, I'm just going to sneeze. Just trying to not sneeze here. How is that possible? Manchester United is how that is possible. Ali probably most deserving of it. Absolutely. Spot on. Yeah, YouTube have niced us there. Lovely stuff. Thank you very much, Alex. And enjoy that, Ali. You do deserve it. Hope we can see an Amrabat Kobe Mainoo pivot for this game. Definitely something I'll come on to. I think it's a pivot I would like to see. Out of interest, what did you guys make of Amrabat's performance in midweek? I've seen a lot of people criticising it and things like that. I actually thought he was pretty good. I was really impressed with his performance. Also, Anthony as well has had a lot of stick. What did you think of his performance? 45 million for Gordon is currently looking like a bargain versus 90 million for Anthony. Yep, fair comment. We've conceded 71 shots in the last 5 games. It might be the last 4 games, I thought it said. Was it 4 or 5? Either way, it's terrible. I done a video on that this morning looking at why we are conceding so many shots, why we're so stretched and poor defensively. What is the end point of Onana? To which extent will you give him a chance to rediscover form? Because his problem seems more down to technical than mental side. His wide stands are found. What, for me personally, gives Onana a bit of time and a bit of credit in the books is actually in the Premier League recently, he has been good. I know, obviously, Champions League has been horrendous, but recently in the Premier League, he has actually been playing really well. I thought last weekend against Everton, I thought he was one of our most important players. He was the reason we won that game and certainly kept a clean sheet. So I think the fact that he's performing well in the Premier League gives him credit in the bank, in my opinion. But if the standards dip too much, then we do have a young goalkeeper who is chomping at the bit, wanting to get in the first team. Anthony was impressive. I hope he carries his form to the Premier League. Completely agree. Anthony played well, but it needs to be that consistent, spot on. Less ponderous and was getting more from his take-ons. Almost had to double take it was Anthony at first. Probably one of his best performances for us so far. I think it is his best performance personally. Amrabat did okay, but I think he needs some help next to him to cover the ground and to break a high press. Mainoo would definitely help. Yeah, I think that's spot on as well. I think, or what I personally really liked in his performance, if you go back and watch the game, you may not want to be fair, but if you do get the chance to go back and watch the game, the important thing to note is the amount of times which Amrabat just takes an extra touch or two on the ball. And I talk about this a lot. It just slows the play down. Sometimes, alright, a player taking a lot of touches on the ball is a negative. But there's certain situations where by taking a couple of touches, taking, say, for example, 3 small touches rather than 1 big touch, is it keeps the ball close to you, but it also just draws players in from the opposition a little bit. And when you do that, I say this all the time, it does just open up a bit of space for someone else. But I do completely agree that he needs someone better alongside him than Scott McTominay. Or even if it is going to be Scott McTominay, got to drop way deeper. Because again, what we saw midweek was Fernandes and McTominay so high up the pitch, and it just abandons our midfield structure. Antony's best performance is either Wednesday, Barcelona at Old Trafford, or Forest away last season. Yeah, all good shouts. Antony was a bit more brave midweek. That needs to be a new benchmark for him. More take-ons and look for centre forward. That's the other thing I liked once he got in the final third, was that rather than just cutting in and doing those, low percentage shots, which he always does, he was finding players, he was finding like the striker's feet, but also kind of going across the edge of the box to someone like Bruno Fernandes on the other side. I quite enjoyed that. Manipulate the opponent to create space for other players. Yeah, that's what Amrabat's good at doing. He's not as good as Kobbie Mainoo in that sense, because he's not pressed resistant. But he does have a bit of composure on the ball, and just putting your foot on the ball and slowing it down really is a help. What do you think about Casemiro Mainoo when Casemiro's back from injury? Hope Licha back soon, because we all really miss him in this team. Yeah, Licha, of course, is a massive miss. Casemiro I'm a bit more unsure of, just because he had such a poor start to the season. Although, I think it would be an interesting dynamic to see. You also ask more questions of the opponent if you can slow it down and make them have to, in response, think further ahead. Absolutely. McTominay versus Joel Linton, what a physical battle. So yeah, on the midfield, in an ideal world, right, in my opinion, what we do in this game is we go, or against another team, we go Sofian Amrabat, Kobbie Mainoo, and Bruno Fernandes. That's a really nice technical midfield. We've got players there which can cover a decent amount of ground, but we've got two players here who can sit and control tempo, allowing our fullbacks at times to push a little bit further forward. But importantly, we've actually got a connected midfield dynamic. The problem is Newcastle are so physical and things, set pieces, they're a big threat, one of the best set piece teams in the Premier League, but also in open play, there's incredible energy in the middle and the size of someone like Joel Linton. So do you have to play Scott McTominay just to combat that? Or is Amrabat enough? Let me know what you think. Because the problem is, and I was speaking about this the other day, say if you take this United team here and you've got to defend a corner, Newcastle are going to send up Lascelles, Schär, Gimrash is about 6 foot, Joel Linton, Miley's quite tall as well, Isak, they're all going to be in the box. Who here is really good in the air for United? Maguire? Lindelof, but come on, not really. There's problems there, so it would be a concern. I don't trust McTominay out of possession. The goal benefit he brings won't always outweigh the risk of being left open. That risk reward needs to be weighed up, especially against higher pressing teams. I completely agree. I think you do get a lot of McTominay. You do get a lot out of him, when you play him higher. But you also lose so much. At times with 10 men, at times in possession, it feels like you're playing with 10 men. Højlund in the air. Yeah, so he's someone who physically does kind of match Newcastle. It would be him and Maguire. But I do think Ten Hag will again go for McTominay for that bit of extra aerial ability. I genuinely do. What do you think of a midfield four? Mount, Fernandes, Mainoo, Amrabat. Mason Mount is injured at the moment. In terms of in the long term, it's definitely something that we could look into. That midfield gives more protection to the back four, considering the centre-backs are not good enough. Do you mean the midfield with Amrabat and Mainoo? Do you mean that midfield, or with McTominay? With the way we played, with Mainoo as a deep six on the half turns, I feel Mount would be good in a McTominay role, but I'm not trusting the defence to step up the pitch. Yeah, of course, a problem there would also be physicality and things like that. You do lose a presence in your side when you do that. Would you start Rashford on Saturday? Big debate. Big debate, which we will definitely come on to at some point in the stream. Because normally, it's kind of a no-brainer. It's Marcus Rashford, you say yes. But Antony played so well midweek. Garnacho, 2 goals in his last 2 games. You can't drop him unless he's fatigued and needs protecting. Who do you go for? Do you bring Marcus Rashford in, who isn't on form, who has been poor recently? It's difficult. It is difficult. It's times like this when we need a Matic-Pogba partnership. Best midfield partnership we've had at this club in years. So what you're saying is Man United will lose. I never said that. You're taking words out of my mouth there. Rashford from the bench. I do feel that Galatasaray game the other night, right, that last 20 minutes, if we had brought Marcus Rashford on, I know we couldn't because he was suspended, but imagine his impact in that last 20 compared to Facundo Pellistri. Oh my days. Could have been crazy. I think Antony was annoyed he got dropped and had a point to prove. Keep dropping him and bringing him on for 30 minutes. See what we can get out of him. That's an interesting thing as well. Anthony, is he a player which at the moment maybe needs bench time and bring him in around the hour mark? Although you could argue the same for Rashford. It's a difficult one. What you do get when you don't play Marcus Rashford is a harder working team. I think Garnacho in particular has really impressed me recently off the ball. On the ball, I still think he looks a little bit, a little bit raw and a little bit rough around the edges still. Granted, a great talent. But defensively, he's been absolutely brilliant. A criticism I often had of him last season was that when he would get tackled or fouled, say up here in the final third, he would go down and just kind of lay there. And we have seen that a lot from superstar players over the past however many decades, right? It's always a thing. Garnacho has really worked on that. He is working so hard when he first loses the ball. So he can be put to the floor by a fullback. The speed with which he then gets up and hunts his player down is really good. For the first Galatasaray goal the other day, I know they eventually got a free kick from it, but Garnacho's work rate was absolutely incredible. Bruno Fernandes was given credit by the commentators for tracking back, but Garnacho was right there with him, and I think it's something he's doing really well. Brad of Gaming, good to see you, mate. Is our academy lacking in tall physical players? Struggling to think of any that have come through lately, besides Scott, who is pretty much tall by accident. Late growth spurt. Yeah, I mean, in the current lot, there's not a ton of physical presences either. I just don't think we see that at the moment. I think particularly in England, there's always been this thing where there's almost a stigma around it all, and certain profiles of player naturally get put into certain positions. It's the same as if you look at English football, the lack of small, technical midfielders who are English. They aren't there because in English academies, when we see these small technical players, they so often get moved to a 10 position or a winger. Whereas in Spain, someone like a Pedri is trusted to play deeper. So I think that is a problem in English football in general, really. McTominay is only good when you bring him on as a sub to put him at the opponent box to score a goal. Otherwise, he is always missing and hiding from the ball. Yeah, I think what he done well early in the Copenhagen game the other week was that game where we played the 2-4 shape. He did actually drop into this position here, and I thought he looked alright there. And for the third goal the other night, he dropped into this sort of position to receive. So I think he's okay. He's just about capable of playing there, but he's just not the top level. Declan Rice originally pushed to centre back. Yeah, exactly. He was in the academy, then he became a midfield just before going pro, and then Mourinho made him a 6 due to his height, talking about McTominay. I'm worried about Lindelof and Maguire versus the high press. Is Saturday an opportunity to push Shaw next to Maguire at left centre-back and then Reguilon at left-back? Or is this creating more aerial problems? It's a good question. It was one that I was going to come on to. Would anyone be tempted, because Newcastle are unbelievably good in the press, would you be tempted to put Luke Shaw here? And like I said there, perhaps Reguilon, who I haven't actually got written down here. Let's do that. Is he 15? He is, right? Put Reguilon there. You could do that to play out from the back, a bit more press resistance. You're also going to get overlapping runs there. But of course, the drawback is you've lost a physical presence or a centre-back. Is Lindelof really a physical presence, though? You want Shaw there when he came back. I think it's better than just Lindelof. Yeah, I think he is a better left centre-back than Lindelof. I think Lindelof this season has been really poor. I don't know what's going on there. Dalot at left-back would also be another shout as well. The problem with this, though, is, as we've said there, the lack of height in the side. But also, the other thing is, with the way that Newcastle press right, let's just quickly cover that, because I haven't done a video on this game. What Newcastle like to do is they actually use a pressing structure. It's going to sound a little bit crazy, because they might be the best pressing team in the league, which actually on paper, it's not a perfect pressing structure. It's a little bit like United at times, where... Oh, let's bring 11 players back onto the pitch. Where they will press with a front three up against a back four for the opposition. Now, this is something which I criticise United for a lot, because it means that if we get the ball here, as the ball goes this way and the opposition come over, you can then work the ball to the other side. So that might be a weakness in the Newcastle press. But the problem is, it's just not. Because these players work ridiculously hard. The Newcastle team, I think they work harder, for me personally, than any team I've seen in England in the past 4 or 5 years. And you think the pressing ability of the Liverpool side a few years ago, I think this Newcastle side blow that team out of the water. Not necessarily for how they press, but the way that they negatively transition and get back towards their own goal is just phenomenal. So yes, you might work the ball and you might work a bit of free space down this side, but best believe Almiron is going to be right there. He works unbelievably hard to get back into position. And Anthony Gordon on the other side is probably one of the only players, or one of the only forwards, I would say, in the world, who for me works as hard out of possession as what he does in possession. That's why he's so valuable. And then you've got these physical presences in midfield who cover a lot of ground. So even when, you know, they do leave a man short somewhere, they just cover so much ground that it doesn't matter. So that's where it's going to be difficult for United. But having someone like Luke Shaw, who maybe for a split second has that extra technical quality to get this ball down and then play down the line, could be handy. I think maybe having Dalot here, who would want to come in onto his right foot, perhaps doesn't work as well in this particular match. So I think I would stick Shaw left back. How does that press work if Mainoo splits the centre-backs again, like in the Everton game? It depends. Newcastle can take a few different approaches. Sometimes, mostly, right, it'll be a bit like this. They're like a 4-3-3, but the wingers will come really narrow like this, and Isak will just drop a little bit, often onto the pivot, and then now go man for man in the midfield with whoever will be there. They commit nice and high. Nick Pope plays ridiculously high as a really good sweeping goalkeeper. So they're going to press really high like that. Can you get Kobbie Mainoo on the ball? Possibly, but to do that, you're going to need good rotations in these areas because, again, they're just so intense. So let's say this ball goes here. Isak will then come over and now do this. But even if you work the ball like this into midfield and then wide, even the midfielders are happy to go and engage over there. Again, it's... Of course, I've got a good structure, but the intensity with it is just insane. It's just insane. So, how do Manchester United bypass that? Could you go long at times to Rasmus Højlund? Possibly. Scott McTominay on the second ball? Possibly. But then you do open yourself up to a really open game. And I think probably what you can see as we're going through this is going to be difficult. His first touch and ability to drive could really help with the press. Luke Shaw, absolutely. That's what I mean. That extra bit of technical ability just to get the ball down. Yeah, could help. Onana distribution will be key on Saturday. Yeah, hopefully we actually see what we need to see. Okay, guys, question to you. In a game like this, would you take risks at the back and try and play out from the back, or would you just go long? Football over here also is almost happy to just disregard technical ability for more physical attributes. Makes me think how Messi would have been treated if he played here. Absolutely. I think it's heading in the right direction in English football. I think we have seen more technical talents coming through, the likes of Phil Foden, Asher Lacey, Kobbie Mainoo, players like that. But yeah, in general, historically, English football has always been more of a physical game. If we go long, we'll have about 30% possession all game. That's the problem here for Erik ten Hag. Truthfully, I think Newcastle will be set up better than what Manchester United will. Truthfully, I just think they will. And I would probably put Newcastle as favourites coming into this game, to be honest with you. Because again, I think their pressing intensity is going to make life really difficult for United. Can you get someone like Kobbie Mainoo taking his time on the ball, slowing it down? If you can, that can be huge. It can be huge. Not sure though. Got to be brave and play out. I think it's what I would do. I think I would play out. I think having Kobbie Mainoo in there, there's almost no point going long at that point, right? Because he's not a physical specimen. So if we're going long and it's getting headed back in here, and you've got Joel Linton against Kobbie Mainoo, Joel Linton's going to win the battle most of the time, right? So I would be brave. I would ask my side to be brave. I would ask my side to take risks on the ball. Understand, that there will be times where you try and do this and you will lose possession in dangerous areas. But I think you've got to try it. With that in mind, would you go Dalot over Wan-Bissaka for slightly better play-out ability, or no? You'd not play out if Lindelof and Maguire are at centre-back. The problem is there's no other option. The upside is our pace in behind. Very true. Garnacho against Trippier could be an interesting battle. Højlund in behind these two. Definitely an option there. You guys still want Wan-Bissaka to deal with Gordon, and because you like him on the ball, weirdly. Fair enough. This game will be tough. I'm almost expecting to lose. Should we try and spin some positives on this? Yeah, if we're playing out from the back, we would go McTominay out for Amrabat. And we'll come on to our starting 11 a bit later. Now, the positive here for you is no matter how good Newcastle are in terms of intensity and things, every team in football has a spell where you just drop a little bit, right? You can't literally press gung-ho for 90 minutes after playing 90 minutes the other night against PSG and making no subs. To go with the starting 11, you can't do the same again, right? So there will be times where you just have to drop off a little bit. Even Manchester United, they have some technical players, a Kobe Mainoo, an Amrabat, a Fernandes, a Luke Shaw. They do just take the ball away from you for a little while. When that happens, Newcastle are very good defensively, but there is one major weakness. Just to finish on the press actually quickly, by the way, it will often be Guimaraes pouncing in midfield, which is something to watch out for. Leaving space in behind here, watch out for that. But Newcastle also like to defend in a 4-5-1 mid-block. At this point, Guimaraes will quite clearly be the deepest midfielder. Joel Linton and Lewis Miley either side, Almer on right-hand side, Gordon on the left, Isak up top. Very much a 4-5-1 shape. But interestingly, what they do is, you can see here, I've got them in actually quite a compact shape. Newcastle, despite being incredible defensively, aren't quite this compact. And if you can use a combination of third-man runs and accurate passing, there is a little thing that you can exploit in there. And it's this. It's the fact that their midfield three plays quite high even in a mid-block. So you might have Isak as close as this. The back three really like to get up here. And they do leave a little channel of space here. Now again, they're intense, so it is difficult to exploit that and work the ball into those areas. But it is something that United could look for. If we were to see, let's say Luke Shaw's got the ball here. If we could see some sort of movement where you can maybe drag a midfielder out and then someone else drop in, you can hurt them with straight passes through the team into this position. And of course, when you get a Bruno Fernandes on the turn and you've got Rasmus Højlund, Garnacho, Anthony, perhaps Rashford running off that, there is a threat there. Wouldn't describe Bruno as technical. He's technical in the sense that he has the ability, single-handedly, to take the ball away from the opposition for a second. He's technical in that way. Do Newcastle have enough quality in that midfield to control things? So this is a problem that they had a little bit against PSG with this team. They couldn't get the foot on the ball. In the second half in particular, PSG had a lot of possession in the second half. Again, I don't know how much you watched this game, but PSG were attacking a lot. Newcastle struggled to get out and keep hold of the ball. Again, Miley, he is an inexperienced player and he's not top level. Joel Linton, as well as he's done, isn't a top level midfielder. Bruno Guimaraes has developed quite a bad habit this season for pumping the ball forward quite quickly. So there is a chance that actually in possession, Newcastle struggled to control the game. I think, weirdly enough, when I will be most scared for United is when United have the ball. I think when Newcastle have the ball and United are able to get behind the ball and be a bit compact and maybe play on transition, I think Manchester United have a lot of threat there. Because like you've said there, I don't know that this midfield has the quality for Newcastle to really control a game, because they're lacking something in there, right? There's a reason they signed a Tonali in the summer. So my biggest worry for United coming into this game is actually when we're trying to build through the pitch. When Newcastle are trying to do it, I've actually got a bit more confidence. But like I said, there is that weakness where this three, they do engage weirdly high up the pitch, and it's a weakness they've had all season. And PSG exploited this at times. You can get at this. You know, again, they are good, they are physical, so they do make up a lot of yards in this area. So even when you play through, they do often track back. But there are times when you can just find little gaps in here. And again, if you can get a Bruno Fernandes on the half turn, looking to play Rasmus Højlund, that's cash money. It's dangerous, right? I think we can exploit on the left-hand side because Trippier often plays very high, leaves a lot of space. Sterling is dangerous when playing against Newcastle. A very good point. The thing you got there is a bit of a game of cat and mouse, really. Does Garnacho track him? Or does he stay up to attack the space, but then you leave your defence exposed? It's always an interesting one in a game like this. The second you play an attacking fullback, it's interesting to see how that dynamic plays out. Højlund to drop off and occupy Fabian Schär. That could make things problematic for them. I think something else which will be important in this game, and something which Rasmus will need to do a lot better, is hold the ball up. A better first touch. He does a decent job of getting his body in, but that first touch then needs to be a lot better. So I think we need to see more from him in that way. FP, mate, good to see you. I hope you're well. By the way, guys, for people wondering about the Erik ten Hag press conference, I will bring you the updates on that as we get it. I believe he's got a press conference this afternoon, right? I assume he has. He normally decides to have one when I'm live. FP, mate, good to see you. I hope you're well, my friend. I hope you're having a good day. Højlund's back against opponent needs to be better though. Yeah, I think he's got the chance in his career to be unbelievably good at it. At the moment, he's not there yet. But we see it in glimpses, right? We see glimpses of genuine world-class talent. We see glimpses where he holds the ball up unbelievably well and brings others in, and it's really, really dangerous. So, if we United can do that in moments in this game, again, you've got potential to hurt the opposition. I'm interested to hear what you guys would do out of Garnacho, Antony, Rashford. Who would you be going for? I think the 3-1-3-3 in build-up would work for this game, which is Ten Hag's main build-up shape. Let's have a look at it. So let's say keep Wan-Bissaka a little bit deeper on the right-hand side to defend the transition of Gordon. Lindelof on the left, Harry Maguire in the middle. Push Shaw a little bit higher. Do we need Amrabat and Kobbie Mainoo if we're doing that shape? Potentially. Do we need both of them? You could technically drop one of them in and do that, maybe. Not sure. I like Rashford on the right. I think he links up better than Antony. Fair point. My concern with Rashford on the right, and I have enjoyed him there recently, is Livramento going the other way. Livramento going forward is quite scary. Against high press, yes, we need Amrabat and Mainoo. So maybe we don't go the 3-1 shape as such. Maybe we go for more of a 3-2, provide that connection point in the midfield. We could even go all the way to a 2-4 shape. Again, I haven't done a video on this, so this is me coming up with it on the spot. There's obviously also the potential of resting Garnacho. Starting Martial, also a shout which I had wondered about for this game. Again, we spoke about it the other day. If you play Martial, you have the potential to create a box in midfield using your striker. Definitely potential there. Trying to think the best way to break this team down. I do think I do genuinely think the best way is to get players in this area here, behind their midfield. Because their mid-block, it's strong, it's really good, but they do just leave this gap in here. And again, if you go back and watch the PSG game, PSG exploited it. There is a gap in there. Do you play Martial just to exploit that gap? Or do you have to go Rasmus Højlund for when we can't play out the press and have to go long? Again, it's one of those ones where as the manager, it's a difficult decision to make. 3-2-5 makes sense, or 3-3-1-3. Perhaps pushing Shaw forward down the left. Like this. The only problem I've got with this is I thought Wan-Bissaka done a good job of getting forward the other day. So maybe you don't want to leave him this deep. But the problem is if you don't leave him this deep, right, and we build the 3 in the other way, like this, you're now leaving Maguire against Gordon on the break. AJ, did they leave that type of gap in a League Cup game at Old Trafford? I genuinely can't remember. I genuinely can't remember, to be honest with you. They do it in most games, so they probably did. In almost every game, Guimaraes likes to be nice and aggressive stepping out. They do leave gaps in here, so I'd imagine they did. This is the thing. This is the problem I've got with dropping Wan-Bissaka deeper. He played well the other day, but if you push him further forward, it's Maguire against Gordon. That's why I suggested the 3-1-3-3 and Martial. Yeah, it definitely gives you the potential to take more control of a game. The main question here for me, Corey, is who do you go for in the back 3? Newcastle definitely won't be as open as Galatasaray were. No chance. Absolutely no chance. They are so good defensively. Martial's really good in linking with players and wins penalties. Fair point. Is it going to be a late runner like Scott bursting off of Bruno or Martial in that pocket that will do it? It definitely could be. Will definitely mean that players like Antony won't have an easy time. The thing that I always have liked about Antony, whilst everyone else has obviously often hated him, the one thing I do like about him is when you're under pressure, Newcastle are attacking and you need an out ball. He's not good going the other way and behind, but he is good at getting his foot on the ball, getting his body in, and just protecting it and buying you a few seconds to bring someone else into the game. I do like him that way. Drop Lindelof and play Luke Shaw left centre back. And maybe a Reguilon at left back. The problem with that is, my problem is, obviously that again would keep Wan-Bissaka quite deep. Normally I'm okay with having Wan-Bissaka deep. Does anyone else think that Wan-Bissaka, Antony, McTominay as a trio played really nicely the other day? Is a back five in contention at all? Not in terms of starting 11, no. In terms of starting structure, I doubt it. Definitely at times defensively we'll see it. Someone like Amrabat or Kobe Mainoo will drop in, but I don't think we'll see 3 centre-backs. Ten Hag should keep ego aside and start Varane. Of all games, he's just not going to play Varane in a game where they're going to press high. Tactically, if it's playing in that half space that is the challenge, Sancho would have made sense. Yeah. Play Reguilon at left back too. I don't know if we can play with a back three in this game. Because my fear, basically, just to kind of summarise, is let's say we push Luke Shaw further forward, which typically we would like to do. It's going to put Lindelof here, Maguire here, Wan-Bissaka here. Now, the good thing here is we've got Wan-Bissaka locking down Gordon in transition. That's a good thing. The bad thing is we've got Bruno Fernandes is our right half space player. We know that he likes to drift inside. And Antony just has no support. The brilliant thing about Antony the other day was that this man here, Scott McTominay, was constantly driving past him. And that worked really nicely. This sort of build-up structure, whatever way around you want to do it, something like this, however you want to work it, doesn't give Antony that support. Now, if we do things the other way around, and we push Wan-Bissaka higher to get near Antony, nice. And we're going to pull Shaw a little bit deeper, like this. The problem we've now got is we've got Gordon against Maguire on the counter-attack. So, that's a problem. Now, obviously, you said about playing Luke Shaw left centre-back. That would mean, again, though, yes, Reguilon could play left-back and fly forward, but again, it means Wan-Bissaka is deep and not able to support Antony. It's a weird one. It's a weird one. Could you ask Bruno to attack the box in order to free up Antony? You absolutely could. Will we see that? I'm not too sure. I've got this worry at the moment, which just sounds crazy. It just sounds crazy. It feels like if you play Wan-Bissaka, you need McTominay. Sorry, not if you play Antony, you need McTominay. Because of that McTominay run forward. Reguilon left back and Shaw left centre back. We still end up with Wan-Bissaka deep. I feel like if we play Antony and Wan-Bissaka, we almost need McTominay in there, which again, it just sounds crazy to say. Is it going to be 2 games in a row where I say we should play Scott McTominay and then criticise him afterwards? Our team is a real mismatch of parts. Yeah, you can see that when you do a video like this. If he starts Mainoo and Amrabat, surely one of them has to help Maguire in the half space versus Gordon. Yeah, if Maguire could delay long enough, you would see them get over. It's just, can Maguire hold him up long enough, I guess. Diamond yesterday was decent. Scalvini was quite good, though. Diamond I see as a backline leader. I think he's got the potential to be, so I don't think he is just yet, but definitely he could be. I'm done with McTominay as a starter. This is the problem. Pogba would cook in that 8 wrong. Yeah, if anyone knows how to get Pogba back and legally allowed to play. Is there a configuration where Wan-Bissaka is a right mid, or is that just waffle? You mean starts right mid or moves there? You could have him move there, absolutely. Antony comes inside, Wan-Bissaka goes round. The only other thing I guess we could see, right, is Kobe Mainoo literally tucking into a back 3 if we were to see him and Amrabat. This is the potential solution, because we saw this in pre-season. Mainoo against Arsenal often dropped right into his right back position. You could do this and have Sophie and Amrabat here. AJ, we haven't talked about Hannibal. Could he play next to Mainoo? Possibly, although I don't know that it necessarily addresses any of the major problems we've got at the moment. Rumour has it McTominay has to wash Erik ten Hag's feet to start. He must do it quite a lot then. that Mainoo right back position in build up makes sense. I guess my question the only question with that now, and again you can see why managers have such a difficult time of things, because every time we come up with a solution, there's a problem. So we then need to overcome that problem. The problem with dropping Kobbie Mainoo in is, yes, we get a lot, he's going to help Maguire defensively, he's good on the ball and things, but do we almost lose a bit of his on the ball quality if he's a little bit wider rather than in the middle? I don't know, I like the idea of playing him a little bit wider. Did you watch the Benfica game? I did not. I heard that Antonio Silva weren't too good though. In pre-season, that weren't English. In pre-season, we saw Mainoo drop to that right back spot a lot, if you remember. Yeah. I definitely that Arsenal game in particular, he definitely could do that again. 360 players in the outside centre back positions is big for playing out from the back. Yeah, it's why Maguire doesn't play here very often. Do you think United will get a centre back in January or in summer? Definitely in one of the two, yes. Hopefully January, but I'm not sure if it will happen. If we keep the same defence, we're going to go to Anfield with Maguire and Lindelof. Yes. Wish us luck. Versus Arsenal in pre-season, Mainoo in the right back position was with Bruno in the right half space, wasn't it? Can anyone get SofaScore up and find that? Because I can't actually remember. We need 3-2 build up like big teams did. Licher and DM or Shaw, both Aaron Wan-Bissaka or Dallo are fantastic in negative transition, and it will help our rest defence. What do you think? In the long term, with Licher, possibly, yeah. Kobbie was free, maybe the best things in life are free. Quite possibly. Malacia out till January. Yeah, I saw that news earlier. Another setback for him and his injury. Will we ever see him again? I'm not sure. DJ Nature, mate, good to see you. I hope you're well. Hope you're having a good day, having a good week, all of that good stuff. We're trying to figure out what shape we go for against Newcastle and who should take up what positions. Have I got too many players here? It looks like I've got loads. Yeah, I've got 12, right? How have I ended up? Oh, because we've got... This is the other problem. We can't play Mainoo, Amrabat, McTominay and Fernandes unless you drop Anthony and put Fernandes out wide, but we don't want that. This is challenging. Too many players and it still feels like not enough? Yeah. Trying to think. Would like to see Bruno demand the ball more, considering they're out of a 6. Yeah, Bruno's definitely got the chance to get into these sorts of positions here. Let's take Sancho, Varane and Ten Hag paintballing. Won't just let him sort it out. I like the idea of that. We need to see 2 sitting in Amrabat and Mainoo. Our defence needs protection. So you guys wouldn't play McTominay. If we're not playing McTominay, I think we don't play Anthony either, which is fine. So let's take Anthony out. Let's put McTominay out as well. What if we do this? Sort of rough shape. Obviously, it's always changing. Shaw would not constantly be in his position. Sometimes it'd overlap, and it's the same down this side as well. Could this work a bit more? You'd like this more? This does offer some solutions. The problem here is Rashford having enough support. This is what you would start? Yeah, the problem here would just be getting Marcus Rashford enough support, making sure that he isn't too isolated. Would anyone be tempted by Facundo Pellistri? Because the problem with having Rashford here is whereas I said Anthony's quite good at protecting the ball and waiting for people to get near him, Rashford not so much. And with Wan-Bissaka deeper, that could be a problem. Although could Kobbie Mainoo get over near him maybe at times as we shift to more of a diamond like this when the ball's on this side of the pitch? Had a few good chances with Rashford on the ball from an underlap from Wan-Bissaka. Again, the thing is, whatever structure we come up with, Ten Hag always rotates a lot anyway, right? So even if Wan-Bissaka's flying forward sometimes, we need to have the players in place to then cover for that. Same argument again regarding Livramento versus Rashford. space behind if Livramento pushes forward. Yeah, the other problem we had earlier. Livramento is very, very good physically. Very strong lad. And in terms of athletically, he's a young player who hasn't lost much despite a really bad injury. He's very, very good at driving forward with the ball. We saw it in the cup game. He completely destroyed us doing this for one of the goals, I believe. That would be a problem. Could you see Rashford and Højlund rotating? I think it's unlikely, but I would like to see it more, yes. I would like to see more of Rasmus in the channels. I think we see quite a lot of his central play. I think he's really good at getting into these positions here and also these positions. We saw that at Atalanta, but we just don't see it here. At United, we're yet to see him really push into these areas on a regular basis. I'd like to see it more. We're missing a centre-back that can cover ground like Wan-Bissaka, and it's making a bit of a headache for us right now. Spot on. It's why I done that stream the other week looking at physical, athletic, ground eater profiles that United need to sign. That's the exact reason. I'm not saying Todibo is the best option, but if United had a Todibo in this side, someone who eats the ground up in defence, it would help United a lot more. Livramento over Dan James. Damn. I think we tried a 3-1-6 formation. It will overload Newcastle defence and we'll be able to create chances with a lot more options in the final third. I think on the ball in sustained possession there's definitely the chance to do that. It's about can we get to that point. I think initially out the back we have to see a 2-4. So when Newcastle are pressing high like this, and again just to confirm, they'll go in this sort of shape. They'll be nice and aggressive. We need a 2-4 shape here just to play it safe. If we can get through this phase of play, you know, out the back, then yes, perhaps we can transition into more of a back three. So we can now, again, like we've said already, Lindelof wide, Maguire, Wan-Bissaka, Amrabat, Kobe Manu, Bruno Fernandes. Now we can start to build in that way a bit more. Is Miley good? I don't know what to think of him. I think the way to judge him is he's, what, 18 years old? But the fact that he's playing the calibre of games he is probably suggests he's got a bit about him. How did PSG set up against Newcastle? Because they had a lot of possession. In the end, PSG had a weird setup. Like, one of their subs at one point, I believe, was Danilo Pereira off for, like, Asensio. They really pushed a lot of men forward. Newcastle also were just really bad at keeping the ball in that game. Do you think Onana will look for the clipped ball to Garnacho and whoever? He tried it quite a lot, didn't he? Pinging the ball out towards Garnacho in the air. And Garnacho actually battled pretty well. Against Trippier, a smaller player, there could be a chance for some success there. Let's not underrate Kobe's ability to get forward, especially if he knows Amrabat is covering him. Yeah, true. The more I look at it, the more it seems Højlund hanging out a bit deeper on the right could be the move. I think it's important that he doesn't stay too fixed. If you look at Darwin Núñez at Liverpool, technically he's not that great, right? But he covers a lot of ground in channels, and it allows him to create a lot of chances for him. When you're a striker and you're running in behind, always in the middle, you're battling two centre-backs. If you get here, you've isolated it to one. It's common sense, right? We need to see it more. The turnaround from the Champions League game to the Newcastle game is very short. I can see him starting Rashford and Martial as a 9. Højlund playing in the 65th minute against tired legs. It's definitely possible. It is definitely possible. The thing to remember as the counter to that is also Newcastle will also be very tired because they had a Champions League game, granted the night before, but it was this starting 11 and they couldn't make a sub all night because their squad was so thin. They have a lot of injuries. They're not used to playing this volume of games because they're not normally in European football. You might be able to get them there. Newcastle rely a lot on their wingers. United need to be good in small 2v2 and 3v3 in the middle and the counter. I think that's a good point for in general, really. Not just against Newcastle, but in every United game. United need to get way better in those little situations, in and out of possession, when it's 2 versus 2, 3 versus 3, 4 versus 4. We've got to be better there. What's your score prediction for the game? Let's go 2-1 United. We're struggling for views on today's stream. Are United fans that sad after the other night? Do people just think we're done out here? Sad times. I can see the game will get open after the 65th minute mark, especially if both teams start to tire, yeah. It's been rough, to be fair. Yeah, the other day we were averaging like over 200 concurrent viewers. We're a bit lower today. United fans are hurting. It's understandable. If Ten Hag wants Højlund to succeed, he needs traditional wingers. If he wants it to be Rashford, he needs to get a deep-lying striker. Yeah, fair point. You tend to watch United content a lot after a bad result. A lot less, sorry. Yeah, I think it's understandable, really. And can everyone get their score predictions in chat real quick? Alex says 3-2 United. Corey says 2-0 Newcastle. Codename saying 2-1 to United. Took a lot of positives from the previous game, but Onana's mistakes had me fuming. Yeah. It's a difficult game to react to, right? Because we should have won 3-1, if not more, because we had so many opportunities late on. To not come away with a win is mind-boggling. Heart says 2-1, Brain says 2-all. What would you be happy with? If we were to draw, would you be okay with that? Got the score draw correct midweek, hopefully get this correct again. What did you say, Codename? You said, what was your score prediction? 2-1 United. Happy days. Gonna sneeze again. And don't want to. We kind of never drew this season. We either win or lose. Yeah, I believe the game the other day was our first draw, right? What I will say is we've got less people in chat today, but I swear the chat's been more active than normal. So we've got about 100 less people, but we've got more messages coming through, which is great to see. Newcastle was so depleted, we surely have to beat them. City fought that in the cup and got beat by them. First draw was against Galatasaray, but it felt like a loss. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Without silly mistakes the other day, it's a win. I'd only take a draw if we deserve the win, as it shows we are going in the right direction. Yeah, if we're like hanging on for dear life and get a 1-1 draw or a 0-0 draw, it's very different to playing very well and drawing 2-2, isn't it? Yeah. 2-1 United, says FP. Can't believe we fumbled Leeds in 2 Champions League games. Don't get me started on that. So did you think we played well the other day? No. I think we created a lot of opportunities. I don't necessarily think we played well. The way that I personally see football a lot of the time is to play well, you need to be in control. Now, control can be different things. It can be having the ball. It can be letting the opposition have the ball, but keep it in a really nice, tight defensive unit and controlling the space and controlling transition. Just control in some form. I didn't feel as though United had control on the game in any way. At the same time, though, we should have scored 5 or 6 goals, and our keeper literally throws the ball into the net for 2 of them. The only thing I would be aware of is that Newcastle were infamous in time wasting and killing momentum. Very good, or very true, I should say, sorry. That almost might benefit United, though. It might force us to slow the game down a little bit. Unless our players then get impatient and just pump it forward. Let me grab a drink real quick. We can't have control with this squad on and off the ball. We can't. That's why I think it was bad. So you think we have more options on the bench than Newcastle to change the game? Yeah. I think if United are to win this game, Manchester United that is, I think if we're to win this game, we're probably going to see it happen after the 65th. I feel like that's when we can come alive a little bit. Say if Rashford and Garnacho start, bringing Anthony on. Say Martial starts, bringing Højlund on. Maybe a McTominay late on. Or a Kobe Mainoo or an Amrabat, depending who starts. Yeah, I think 65th minute onwards is where we've got our best chance at taking control of the game. Or certainly opening the game up a little bit and looking quite threatening. I feel like this United team should be the kind of team that scores 4 if you score 3. It feels like that's what we go for, but then we miss the chances, yeah. The 2-1 against Liverpool was a perfect example of how to control a game without possession. Exactly, control doesn't just mean having the ball. It can mean, like I said already, just defending and controlling the space. Control isn't just about controlling literally where the football is, it's also controlling different gaps on the pitch. But what if Eddie Howe knows this issue? He will play more defensive and counter? Well, if that's the case, then it might allow United to get a foot on the ball. And if they do play quite defensive, which I don't think they will, but if they were to, it addresses some of the problem of playing out from the back, so it could actually be a bonus. Does anyone know if Lisandro Martinez had issues with his foot before joining United? Pardon me, I do apologise. I personally do not know. I never heard anything, but if anyone knows any different in chat, let them know. Predicting an Anthony goal? Do a scout report on the right centre-back, Sangante. I'll have a look into it. Shaw at left centre-back, definitely an option. I want to hear... Let's do a poll on what you guys would do with the wingers. So what are our combinations? We got Anthony and... I can't spell here. Anthony and Garnacho. We could do Anthony and Rashford. Or we can do Rashford and Garnacho. Right? I think that's right. Did I say the same thing twice there? No idea. Oh, sorry. There we go. Alusumi for me. Alusumi, sorry. Yeah, I still need to watch him. I haven't seen him yet. We saw that against Arsenal. Arteta sat back and so we killed time just knocking the ball around in our own half. Yeah, there is a chance. Again, I think it's unlikely, but there is a chance in this sort of game that Newcastle prioritise more of their mid-block. That's when you could start to see Onana standing on the ball, which isn't a bad thing because it slows the game down. I've lost my mouse. Where's my mouse? Here it is. So if Newcastle don't engage all the way, which I think they will, but if they don't, then that does address some of our problems. The centre-backs can split, Onana can take his time on the ball, and now if we're patient, we can find the overload somewhere. Here it is. Lindelof, Kobe Mainoo, Amrabat, Maguire, Onana against a narrow 3. If the midfielders want to come, then they're leaving spaces in here. So, yeah. I think we could play Garnacho off the bench. We might overwork him if he played tomorrow. Yeah, it's definitely a good point. He's not used to starting this volume of games in quick succession. I think Pellistri needs a loan for a couple of seasons. He needs more development in game time. Yeah, I mean, my opinion for a long time has been that I don't think he's going to be a long-term United player, but he does a job sort of thing for now. Sancho's actually scored against every top 6 team. I don't think he'll be doing it this weekend. Where would you like to see Sancho go, Corey? What club would you like to come in for him? Ignore the price. Like, what club do you think would suit him, I should say? Feel like Livramento would eat Anthony up? Yeah, possibly. I said Livramento physically is unbelievably good. He's also very good on the ball. He's just a great fullback. Like, Livramento, for me, one of the most underrated players in the Premier League. I've been on his hype train for a few years. He got that injury, which was annoying, but great player. Sancho would do well in Italy. What a slower pace, you reckon? Does anyone know when Amad Diallo is back from injury? I personally have no idea, Ali, mate, but I don't know if someone else does. By the way, guys, for everyone here who hasn't heard already, after this, I will be live streaming Football Manager 24 on Discord. So if someone could quickly put the Discord link in the chat, that'd be great. And then anyone that wants to join is completely free to do so. And you can have your say and things like that. Amad just started training, probably January before he's match ready. Yeah, at the earliest, I would imagine. Chance maybe in the FA Cup, depending on what sort of draw we get there. Also, while you're here, guys, make sure to leave a like on the stream. Can we get up to 40, I reckon? We're on 31 at the moment. Make sure to leave a like if you haven't already. Don't you think Rashford should start in a game like this on the left? He has much more experience than Garnacho. That's why we're doing a poll. I'm interested to see. Basically, whoever wins the poll is who will start. I definitely see the benefit of starting Rashford down this side. I think physically he'd have more of a chance against Trippier than what he would against Livramento. The problem is, who do you play right wing? Anthony, Facundo Pellistri, Bruno, Garnacho. There's options. Juve, Bayern, Dortmund, Barca, Spurs, Arsenal or Leverkusen. So would you like to see him at a Prem team or not? Because obviously, from our point of view, that means he's with a rival. Of course, you've said a couple of Prem teams in there. Barca are the one that I like the idea of, with Balde flying around. Can Garnacho play on the right? He'll work harder against Tino than what Rashford would. Good question, or a good point actually about the work rate. We haven't seen it yet though. So I think Rashford should start. He's been out with a week with no match, and seeing what Anthony has done well, maybe he passes the ball some more. Rashi right, Garnacho left. Rashi's crosses also to Rasmus Højlund is a good point as well. Yeah, I think... Would I start Rashford? I'm not sure, but I think Ten Hag will. The fact that we've got quite a short turnaround between games at the moment, the fact that Rashford is a top player and didn't play midweek, gives him a real good chance of starting this game. Every time I've seen Garnacho on the right, he looked lost. I can't remember seeing him there, I'll be honest. I would love Garnacho off the bench. Newcastle would be tired, given their rest time was limited. Can you imagine Garnacho coming on against a tired Trippier and Lascelles? There could be potential there, for sure. Barca, Leverkusen, or a fully fit Spurs side. Nice. Are we happy with the rest of the team? Are we happy with Wan-Bissaka over Dalot? I think I am. Just because I think we saw in midweek what happens defensively, the difference between the two. I think Dalot's improved a lot, but my days, the second that Dalot came on, Zaha ripped him to shreds for a few minutes before going off. Don't want to see that again. If United drop out of the Champions League, do you think it would be better for United to not get into Europa to focus on the top four? Yeah, absolutely. I've never seen Garnacho on the right. No, I'm not. I don't recall seeing him there. When's Mount going to play? He's injured for this game. He's injured at the moment. He's got about a month out, I think. What does McTominay offer other than arriving late into the box and scoring? I swear if Ten Hag starts him again. Fair point, but you've said there, apart from scoring, scoring's quite a big thing in a low-scoring sport. I think that's why he plays. Mount's back in training? Nice, hopefully by the new year then. Dalot hesitated on the cross into the box. We could have had a fourth. Yeah, I'm going to keep an eye on these Ten Hag quotes as and when we see them. Oh, there's some out already? Lovely. What I'll quickly do then is put this over the screen for a second. You can look at this beautiful man, Erik Ten Hag, complaining to the ref, or the fourth official. Well in, Eric. I'm going to go find his quotes. I think the other thing with McTominay, we spoke about it a lot, is the physical presence. We saw it in the first goal the other day. The work that he does in the build-up to that goal, no other United midfielder could do it realistically. I don't think he should be a regular starter. I'm with you on that. But I think we saw the other day why he does start. I thought he was good for large periods. He was physical, he was strong, he was getting into the channels really well. Yeah. Let's look at some of these Ten Hag quotes. You guys seeing this? Happy days. Mason Mount is today returning on the training pitch, but I don't know how long it will take until he returns. I can't say in this moment. Like I said, hopefully after the kind of winter patch. McTominay wasted a lot of opportunities. Oh, absolutely, but I'm saying I don't think he should play. I agree with that. But I think you can certainly see the value of him. I think the value of McTominay is clear with how bad United are at the moment. Because Ten Hag has tactically got it wrong at the moment, it's working for McTominay because his ability to get up and down the pitch, his size. Again, the third, was it the third goal or the first goal? The first goal the other day comes from Onana playing long and McTominay muscling Ndombele away from the ball, getting it down and turning and then playing from there. No other United midfielder wins that aerial battle. They just don't. He was the reason United were able to nullify a lot of what Galatasaray were doing out of possession, because someone like Torreira would try and be intense on him and he was just brushing him off. Other players can't do that. Talking about Grimaldo. I also forgot Chelsea, really. I think he'll do good anywhere. But kind of like Di Maria. That's why I feel like him being subbed on late will cause problems with his goal-scoring ability and physicality. Yeah, I completely agree. You just said his ability to get up and down the pitch. Scott McTominay. Yes, I did say that, correct. Good job. Rashford should start because Garnacho has been playing back-to-back. We need to take care of his fitness. Anthony on the right for me. Do you mean the striker codename? If so, no. The Scottish Giroud. What a way to name McTominay. I like that. Ten Hag saying we have many options, but we have to manage the load of the players. It's also about freshness as well. So something like that would maybe point to Rashford starting over a Garnacho for recent minutes. Yeah, in that case, I wouldn't codename. He's statistically the best striker in Europe this season for overperforming his expected goals. But if you look back on past seasons, he's never exceeded his expected goals by more than one. So I think it's unsustainable what he's doing. Assuming we're talking about the same guy there, which I think we are. Also, we play again against Chelsea on Wednesday. Absolutely. Little quote on Kobbie Mainoo here. He showed on Sunday he was ready, and then we have to manage 3 games in 6 days to get the best results of all the games. We have more than 11 players. We have good options there. Could he play? I hope he does. His scanning. Oh my. That is great for the development of football analysis on social media, by the way. The fact that Ten Hag said his scanning as the first word that he likes about a player, that's great to see. People need to look into that way more. His scanning, it looks like he always has time because he is scanning. He is running free, he is scanning to see the options and make the right decisions. Can delay, can speed up, he makes the right decisions. Spot on, Eric, mate, and that is what you need for this game, so do it. Ten Hag on Andre Onana. If you analyse it well, then you see he is the second best goalkeeper in the Premier League based on stats. His expected preventing goals is second best in the Premier League. That's another thing which is actually quite nice to hear a manager talk about that. He's doing well, but he knows that in the Champions League he has made some mistakes. But all over in the first 5 months he has done well. Yeah, I think he's done well in the Premier League, not in the Champions League. On Wednesday we played very good. Also in Copenhagen. Even in Bayern Munich we played very good, but we have to do some things better. Eliminate individual errors, transition, but we can sort this out. Eric, mate, will agree to disagree on that one. But we'll see what else he has to say as it updates. Why is there a game like every 3 days in December? Because it makes the big men money. That's why. Because they don't care about, the physical health of these humans. That's why. I think the toughest part of Mainoo will be not overusing him while he's still so young. Yeah, very true. It's about getting the technical, but also the physical development of a young player spot on. Something which Barcelona have struggled with. We've seen that with injuries to Gavi and Pedri. Technically, they've kind of prioritised getting them on the pitch, playing a lot of football, but it's come at the expense of injuries. Let's just update this and see what comes up. What are our chances against Newcastle? Surely with so many injuries in their team, we should be the favourites. Yeah, I'm going to go, I reckon we win 2-1. Internationals don't help, very true, especially international friendlies. Ten Hag on Onana, he's a strong character, he has a personality, and he will deal with it. I certainly hope so. I don't think we expect anything else to be said, though, right? He's never going to come out and go, oh, he's really struggling with this, mate. What are our chances against Newcastle? No, I've already read that. Wrong one. I feel bad for Mainoo being the main man in this terrible United side. Yeah, me too. December is where a lot of countries have holidays, so more games mean more exposure, more money. Spot on. Just reading through your chat. You guys have been super active today, which has been brilliant to see. Lots of chat going on. I missed this comment earlier from Ali. I do apologise for that. If we win this game, we control it. Midfield is the key. Sorry, we win the game if we control it. Midfield is key. Spot on. That was ages ago. I apologise. I've only just seen that. We'll keep seeing what else Erik ten Hag has to see. Who do we think are going to be the key men in this game? If you had to put your hat on, what player is going to decide this in the favour of Manchester United, which player are you going for? Is it a McTominay from the bench? Is it a Rasmus Højlund? Is it a Garnacho again? Rashford? Bruno Fernandes? Just another little quote for you here. Ten Hag on Newcastle. I really respect them. It's a difficult team to play, but it's a good challenge, and I like to play against them. We have to rise to the occasion, be our best against them, because the way they play is very organised. Pretty standard stuff, fair enough. Normal press conference. Waffle. Højlund, Onana for Newcastle. Come on now. Bruno and Mainu, definitely. I think midfield is definitely the key here. You know what? Because you guys have been so good today, I'm going to skip these adverts so you don't have to watch them. Bosh. There you go, lads. Enjoy that. Fernandez, Onana, Højlund. What do you think of the idea that we have too many players who require goals to justify their place on the pitch rather than overall performance? It's a problem. Yeah, it's a real problem. I think also, right, I think something which is quite a big problem is when we've been doing this setup. That was a horrible free throw. When we've been doing this, right, there's so many players where it's been like, well, we can't play Maguire here because he's physically not capable. We can't play Lindelof here because he can't do it. We've got to have this player near this player because this player is only good with someone blah 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 near him. We can't play Dalot because he's not good enough defensively, but we can't play Wan-Bissaka because he's maybe not as good passing under pressure. I just wish we had a well-balanced squad which didn't require 100 little tactical tweaks every single game. The refs has been announced for the game. Same VAR team as for the Wolves game last week. Oh, well, that's not a good sign, is it? Was there 3 penalties in that game? Would you do a combined 11 between United and Newcastle? Fully fit? I mean, you're having Gordon... not Gordon, sorry. You're having Trippier in there. You're having Guimaraes in there. Isak at this moment in time, you'd have in there. Just because Højlund isn't quite there yet. I'm not sure who else. Ajax had such a well-balanced squad. Yeah, that was a big thing. And obviously, the big thing with Ajax was they were all so technical, as you know. Like, they were so good technically. No matter who came in and out of the team, they were always good on the ball. Always. When the Sandro Martinez is fit, who should be our starting centre-back? I guess we'll cross that bridge when we get there, really. Probably Varane again. Just seeing if we've got any more quotes coming through real quick, but nothing as of yet. I'd like to keep you posted, though, because it might change the team news. We might see one of these guys is out or something like that. How can we break their low block? Just pray and hope for the best. No, again, no, they're incredibly good defensively all over the pitch, right? Again, it'll be compact. It will be narrow. There'll be very little spacing between the players. VK, we have the donation saying, AJ, do you think Højlund is gassed out by 70 minutes because he's doing so much press to 2 centre-backs, meaning he has less energy to burst into the box? Very good point. Yeah, I think he does do an incredible amount of work in terms of pressing. We saw the second he came off the other day and Martial came on. The difference in intensity up front was crazy, and that was not a fully fit Højlund. So yeah, I think you're spot on. Thank you very much, VK, for the donation, mate. I hope you're well. Hope you're having a good day, having a good week. If everyone could say thank you. Members, you know what to do. Spam some love hearts. Spam some love hearts. Get those love hearts spammed for VK for the donation, please, and thank you, everybody. Have you thought about trying to get collabs or things? I have tried. People I've reached out to haven't replied to me, which is quite sad. Sad times. Put an F in chat to pay respect. AJ, do you think Ten Hag was playing with the same big gap between the defence and the midfield? Back in Ajax? Defensively, he definitely had problems at Ajax as well. I think what we see in the Premier League is they're much more exposed, right? Because in Ajax, he had the best team in the Netherlands, technically. So they had a lot of the ball. Whereas at United, because technically we're not even the top 8 teams in the league, we have far less of the ball, which means those defensive gaps, those defensive frailties are just times by 10, the spotlight is really put on them. So I think structurally he had some similar issues with Ajax. It's just being kind of really enhanced and really exposed at United. If we had 60% possession, we'd look better defensively. Why is our defence so bad, AJ? Check out this morning's video. My members, I want to see some more love hearts spam to say thanks to VK for the donation, please, and thank y'all. Let's get those love hearts in there. When do you think we should sell Varane and Casemiro? I think we'll see at least one of them gone in the summer. Not sure about both. Thank you very much, guys. Appreciate that. If we had their backline, we'd probably be a lot better. Yeah, the thing also, you're talking about Timber and Lissandro Martinez is then physicality and things like that. But yeah, if we had a better defense, we'd be better on the ball. Better on the ball, we'd have a better defense. It all goes round and round, right? Thank you guys, appreciate that. Do you think United are only forcing Sancho out due to his performance to wage ratio? If that's the case, then some more players need to look out as well, right? There's a few which might be in trouble. My thought on the Højlund subbing is the risk of injury. For example, in the NBA, this is interesting. The big tall dudes are high injury risks, and same with Højlund. He's injury prone, and we have only him, so we can't rotate. Fair point. I think also, weren't it said when he first joined that he was always going to be limited first season to how much he could play? At one point it was that he can't even play like more than 2 games in a week at one point, and obviously he's played a lot more than that. I also don't know that he was ever signed to be our starting striker this season. A lot of the talk was that we would get an experienced striker to kind of rotate the workload with him. We haven't seen that, so that's probably some of it as well. To be fair, Højlund would be small in the NBA, also a fair point. Have you tried Pythagoras in boots? No, I haven't messaged him about a collab. I have spoken to him in the past, but not about a collab. What do you think of Quinton Timber? Not really a player I've focused on massively. I thought he looked good at the start of the under-21 championships in the summer. But I believe he then got suspended, or did he get injured or something? Yeah, whoever it was who asked about our defence being so poor, check out my video which I uploaded this morning. That covers a lot of it. What's the Sancho discussion going on at the moment? Should we sell Martial in the summer, or can he be a good backup for another year? I'm not sure. I don't know anymore. I'll be honest with you. Maybe you guys in chat can help with that. Because it happens every year, right? He's terrible, unavailable, and plays poorly. And then has a 5-game streak where he plays quite well. Technical ability is good. Maybe scores a goal or 2. He's available. And suddenly he looks like a good squad option again. Then a few weeks later, he looks like he's a guaranteed sale again. I don't know. It just goes round and round in circles. Personally, I would probably let him go. I think I almost feel like it's been enough time that if it was going to work, it would have worked by now. About vertical compactness, have you looked to see how it compares to last season? It seems like Licha and Varane were stepping up a lot higher consistently. I haven't looked at the numbers in direct comparison. But yeah, Lissandro Martinez is someone which always is aggressive and on the front foot, which kind of naturally closes some of the gaps. I also think last season we didn't press quite as high either. A forward that can't score in the Premier League, Timo Werner would fit right in. Martial heartbreak needs to end. Yeah. His contract expires in June. So I don't want to lose him on a free is the problem. There are a lot of players that have had more than enough chances in this squad. Fair point. Have you done analysis of Real Madrid versus Ajax, the 4-1 game in 2019? Not as a video or a piece of content, but I have watched that game back several times in the past, yeah. What do you think of the rumours of Sir Jim prioritising British signings? Obviously helps with the homegrown talent issue. It helps there. Is there a benefit to it as such outside of that? Not too sure, really. I don't know how much of a difference it really makes. I guess typically it would mean players which are already more used to English football in the Premier League and things like that. I don't know. Mercurial Blonde, I have not. I don't think I will, unless the rumours become stronger. Start Varane and Shaw centre-back. I'd be tempted, but I don't think Ten Hag will. First, let's get Sir Jim. Yeah, so when Jim Ratcliffe, or if and when he comes in, and also Paul Mitchell, I want to do a video. 3 Nice players which Ratcliffe could bring with him, but also 3 Monaco players which Paul Mitchell could bring with him. Maybe a cool idea. What about Frimpong rumours? Do we really need him? Really dependent on the system around him. I've got real concerns over him defensively in a back 4. I think he's a good wing back, brilliant flying forward. But, he's not a player to drop into these areas, help play out from the back. He's not great defensively in these areas. Not sure. If we could become a de facto destination for British players again, it would be nice. England especially has had an insane crop of talent. Yes, it's a good point, to be fair. Like I said, English players also typically have spent most of their career in England, so they are used to more the intensity and the tempo of English football. Whereas, if I'm played in Argentina for the last 5 years, I'm less used to it. So I'm more conditioned to it, perhaps. So that's a benefit. But I'm not sure. I was really hoping the Marcus Leonardo rumours were true in the summer to give a different option up front. Yeah, I need to watch him way more. I need to watch him and figure out whether or not it'd be a good signing for United. Because I know some people which really rate him, really rave about him. So I do want to look into it in the future, for sure. Ratcliffe is just installing a recruitment team special for British players, picking up young players like Bellingham or Rice before they become big. He's, of course, going to look other places also. I think that's an important thing, yeah. I think United always used to have a lot of the best young British talent. I don't think we have that anymore. We get the occasional. A Rashford was... Mason Greenwood, when he was at the club, was a top young English player. Kobe Mainoo now, hopefully. But yeah, it would be nice to see us put more effort into getting some of these players and then also giving them the right environment and the right structure to actually develop and improve and reach their potential. I think that's important. Who do we need in January? I don't even know right now, I'll be honest with you. Out of your options on this morning's video, would you sit deep or bring the back line up for Newcastle? Personally, I would drop the forward line a bit. I think the fact that we're probably quite fatigued at the moment, we don't need to go over super crazy high press. I don't think it's necessary. So yeah, perhaps sit and contain a little bit more, play in transition. That could work, but also try and keep the ball. Ivan Toney's definitely a possibility, yeah. Also, some sort of centre-back, just so we're not playing Johnny Evans every other week. I doubt we get a midfielder, so it'll probably be either an experienced striker or an affordable centre-back, if we were to get something. Even if we get youngsters, I doubt we have the best environment for players to grow right now. Yeah, right now we don't. But that's exactly what needs to change over the next few years or so. Man City are done. Why is City done? Hello AJ, sorry for being late. No need to apologise, mate. Hope you're well. Hope you're good. Having a good day. Having a good week. All of that stuff. Let me know how you're doing. How many 90 minutes has Amrabat completed for United? I want to say 0. Is there a financial clause in his loan deal? Possibly. There could be something we don't know about. It might be cynical thinking, but it's possible. Have we had any more Ten Hag quotes? Let me have a look. I can't see anything else from his press conference. Someone like Todibo, obviously, is a January shout as well, yeah. I think we have a deep defence, the lack of mobility and speed recovery in both Maguire and the Iceman. Yeah, also the fact that our midfield isn't great at covering grounds. That's why I would sit a little bit deeper. Drop the forward line more than anything against Newcastle. At the rate Amrabat is going, would you buy him at the end of the season or let him go? At the moment, I would let him go purely because the manager doesn't seem to trust him. Personally, I still like him. I still think he's a really good potential solution to some of our problems. But if the manager doesn't trust him, there's no point keeping him. Sorry for the long chat. Just having a friendly conversation with Corey on Sancho being a focal point or key gear player. No worries, mate. You ain't got to apologise for that. What has happened to Lindelof's ability to pass the ball this season? I don't know. I've done a video late pre-season praising Lindelof and what he could be for the team this season. Terrible. Not sure what's happened. Gabriel Moscada was a young Brazilian Declan Rice. I need to watch him. He's another player that I need to make sure I'm watching. What's the budget for Ten Hag in January? No idea. Your guess is as good as mine, my friend. January signings for me have to be Todibo to be mentored by Varane for half a season. Try to sell off Sancho and Martial and maybe loan in a Weghorst type player again. I just don't know if that Weghorst type option is there on the market. Obviously, it didn't work last year. Weghorst done alright, I guess, but you know what I mean. Is there that good experienced striker on loan for 6 months that you can get this year? I'm not sure. I also feel like eventually we need to stop with the loans and actually focus on developing players which are going to play for us. You know, the Weghorsts, the Regions, the Sabitzers, the Amrabat, if none of them end up playing for the club, you know, a top club shouldn't be so stopgap signings, you know? Oh, apologies for just yeeting the mic. How does the boss get more assists for the strikers we already have at the club rather than buying another striker? I think I'd done a video on creating more chances a while back. I think one of the big things, which I covered earlier, is actually the movement of the striker himself. I think we need to see more of Rasmus Højlund in these channels. It's always short-term fixes for United under the Glazers, very true. Both United and Newcastle went on a draw in their games midweek. How would you see the game come tomorrow? Prediction? I would say 2-1 United. Manchester United. You know what? 2-1 either way, probably. What about Taremi? I wouldn't mind Taremi at all. I think he'd be a good option. I just don't think you'll see it as a loan. But yeah, we could go buy him for sure. One of the underrated aspects of that Garnacho goal was the way we used Højlund as a pivot. Yeah, his hold-up play was brilliant for that goal. That's what we need to see more of. I think he's better at it in the box than what he is, say, around the halfway line. Perhaps because defenders are a little bit more passive in the box because they don't want to give away a foul. He seems to take advantage of that really well. You've replaced Martial with Taremi. Yeah, there's definitely some value in doing that for sure. Do you not think Bruno needs to play closer to Højlund to get the best from both? Yeah, I want to see a centralised Bruno playing in zone 14 personally. McTominay is way too reactive after the fact that a player recognising the dangers during match plays. He can't dictate the flow, and Amrabat will take the fall because he is the low-hanging fruit. Yeah, seems fairly like quite a fair assessment, I'll be honest with you. I think, by the way, guys, we are going to wrap stream up there because we're kind of running out of stuff to talk about on this Newcastle game. I also think, you know, United just a little bit drab to talk about at the moment. I feel like we're repeating ourselves a lot, so I don't want to pipe on for too long. I also am about to go live over on Discord. Can anyone in here quickly grab the Discord link and put it in chat? Because I'm about to go live on Discord and we're going to start playing FM24, a Fixing Manchester United series. Starting next week, it will be on YouTube as well. But for today, it's just Discord because I've had a slight problem. I like having Martial as an option who can drop deep and link up play. It's not like we would get much money if we sold him anyway. Taremi is very good at that link play as well. But yeah, I do see what you're saying. I wouldn't be surprised if we just lose him on a free eventually at the end of his contract. Or maybe we triggered a 1-year extension then sell him. Something like that. But yeah, go over to the Discord, guys. Let me see if I can find a link for you real quick. I haven't got it open right now. 1 second. Copy link. Just bear with me. I'll try to get you a link to the Discord server for anyone who's not already in it. I'm not expecting too many people to be watching a Discord stream, I'll be honest with you, based on the lack of views we've had on this stream today. But like I said, I think people are, you know, a little bit, you know, just done with United at times this season, so I don't blame people for not clicking on this sort of video. But yeah, for me, it's the supply for goals that needs fixing, not necessarily another striker. I think we need another striker in the sense of protecting Højlund, like rotating him and things like that, but not necessarily for quality reasons and things like that. So, yes, bring a striker in to rotate with Rasmus, but not someone who, like, we don't need like a better option as such. Is the Discord link now in there for you guys? There you go. Use that. Use that. But in terms of streaming here on YouTube today, we are finished because, like I said, there's been a lack of views today, which is a little bit disheartening. But like I said, I think people are just a little bit tired of United, and we're at risk of just constantly talking about the same stuff over and over again. Tomorrow morning, we do not have a video. So this is the last time I'm talking to you guys before the Newcastle game. Enjoy the Newcastle game if you can. But of course, Sunday morning, I will be here covering Manchester United versus Newcastle. Monday morning, I've got something planned, although I can't remember what it was. Spurs City, perhaps? Ali with the donation just quickly before we go, the $5, saying thank you for a brilliant show today, AJ, and thank you, Alex, again, for gifting me the membership. Let's hope for ever a win. we can dream of the win. I really, really hope we get the win. Thank you very much for the donation, and thanks again, as always, for the donation and tuning in. Greatly appreciate it. And I'm really glad that YouTube gave you the membership. So, Alex, thank you very much for gifting that. And thank you, YouTube, for getting it to our leader. It literally worked perfectly. But yeah, we are going to wrap up the stream there. I'm now going to head over to Discord. The link is in chat if you want to join the Discord server. I'm going to head over to Discord in about 5 minutes' time. Go live there. We're going to start playing FM. I'm a bit of a noob at the game, so perhaps you guys can help me. But thank you to everyone who's sat here quietly. Thank you to everyone who's liked the stream. Thank you to everyone who's joined in with the chatting, the polls. We've done a couple of them, so thank you for that. Thank you for everyone who's just been involved in general, basically. Everyone who said something. The chat's been super active today. So thank you all for joining in, struggling with words. Thank you, VK, for the donation, Ali for the donation, and Alex also for the gifted membership. Super generous of all you guys. Hope you all enjoy the rest of the day. Hope you have a good day at work, school, a day off, whatever it is you're doing. Hope you enjoy the United game. Have a good weekend. All of that good stuff. I wish you the best health. But apart from that, we are finished for today. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you have enjoyed it. And as always,